Hello, this is Kelo here. If you're new on my channel, I've got some videos about building a double-decker van Hool bus into a mobile home. Last video that I posted was somewhere in March. We had snow back then. Right now it's the middle of summer. So if you're wondering what we've been up to for such a long time, so now you can see. First of all, we changed our plans a little bit. So our first idea was to fix what we saw needed fixing and then keep the rest. But then after a while we thought that maybe it's better if we change a little bit more. It was because we found that some of the rock wool or the stone wool, whichever is right, was still moist after a few months when the bus had been staying indoors. And we also found that underneath those beautiful green metal side panels, in some areas the metal wasn't in such a good condition that we hoped it would be. And then we decided that probably we should take all of the panels off and check everything, and then later just replace the panels with the new panels. And it was partly needed because metal can behave differently in different conditions. For example, it expands and it shrinks, and perhaps there could be some issues between the old metal and the new one when we replace some areas with the new one. So we decided that perhaps it would be better if we replace them all. Of course, a good shout out to Van Hool, no commercial here, that the panels were so well attached that it took us ages to get them all off, and I think a few panels are still on the bus right now because it just takes so much time. Anyway, so because of the change of plans, we were delayed. We were hoping to get this bus ready by this summer, but right now we're still building it. Most of the winter we also messed with the cabling. Since the bus has been operating like 30 years on the roads, of course there were some changes made. Some cables were not in use anymore, but all of the cables were still kept in the bus because the 12-meter long bus, you don't really know anymore where those cables are going that you disconnect. So we had a bunch of cables like that connected together with a big sleeve, and after we received a cabling for the electrical diagrams from Van Hool customer service, we just kind of disconnected the cables, and those electrical schemes are helping us to reconnect the right cables to right place in the future. So this is what we were messing with in the winter, and later we began to take off the huge back panel of the bus. It's made of plastic, so it's not very heavy, but it's huge, and because it's huge, it's a little heavy anyway. So we had to get it loose, and later we had to figure out how to get it off, how to place it on the ground, and what to do with it. And we were lucky. We got it off. It's all in one piece. We had a little accident when we were taking out the huge heater from the back of the bus, and while taking it off, it kind of hit the ladder, which fell onto the back panel, and it's this small area I spent a little bit, but it's okay, we can fix that later. So we had some hiccups, and then afterwards we got access to the engine area and all of the devices and things that were near the engine. Of course, since some of those things have been attached 30 years ago and nobody has ever had to work on them because they were in good condition, then they were all kind of how to say, so well attached that you can't get them loose. And some of the things we saw were replaced, but of course the rusting and everything, they were, because of the rusting and everything, they were also so fixed in there that you had to work on those things for days, sometimes weeks, to get them off. But we did, one by one. And eventually we got the engine out. Now the engine is in the corner at the moment. We are planning to start working on it soon. But our main focus since then shifted to strengthening the frame so that we could eventually hopefully lift it up. There is a little room between the roof of the warehouse and the bus, so we can when we get the bus up, we can have a look underneath the bus, what is the situation over there. And once we've done all of that, then probably the engine is gonna be our next priority. Of course, all of those little side works we have to do also, like scratching, scraping off, taking off the old silicone, old glue residue, the layers of rust sometimes, because when the metal starts rusting, it doesn't really have to be the case where you need to really replace the metal part, but you can just kind of scrape off the first layer of this rust, and then the metal is fine because the rust hasn't been able to do any damage in this metal yet. So this is what we're messing with today. But we are still hoping to get the bus at least this much ready so it's riding again this year, hopefully. Because winters are quite harsh in Estonia, and last winter the degrees in the warehouse were like -14, -16 Celsius and -20 Celsius. Sometimes it's really hard to work in these conditions. You have a little heater, but it doesn't heat all of the room. So yeah, and right now in the summer here we have a different temperature problem. We have 25, 30 plus Celsius, which is also kind of very sweaty condition to work with. Yeah, so this is what we've been up to, and how we've been doing and what's going on. So I hope you liked it, and welcome back. Have a good summer, and I hope to not keep such a long period anymore when I'm not posting.